As we bring in our good and longtime friend Scott Laughlin, Score alumni from Sirius XM NHL Radio, and I love the jersey. We were kicking this around. DeMarco Murray, is that the flavor of the day, Scott, or what's the deal?
Marco Murray. I wish it was C.J. Goodwin. I wish it could be a little bit more up-to-date, Rod. But I've got to pay a mortgage. I've got food to eat. As such, it's been a while since I've bought a jersey. I've got 7 or 8 of them, and DeMarco Murray's the best you can get today.
Tony Romo here. Troy Aikman. Those are my Dallas Cowboy jerseys, and I just rule them. Scott, I'm going to open with this. This was our poll question today. Who's been the best free agent signing in the NHL so far this season? Our options are Dougie Hamilton, Zach Hyman, Blake Coleman, or Freddie Anderson. Where would you vote on that?
Oh, boy.
If any of them, or somebody else.
Well, I tell you what, I really like what Blake Coleman has done for the Calgary Flames, I think, Rod. I mean, we know he was a part of that third line with Tampa Bay. I think he had a real good start to his career with New Jersey. I think he's got the Stanley Cup pedigree now, and I think he is really, as they say, Daryl Sutter's type player, whether he's a third liner in Calgary or ultimately is a second liner in Calgary. I think he's that sort of, muck and grind type guy with a little bit of offensive flair that has made a difference for that team. And we've seen what they've done. I know Jacob Markstrom deserves a lot of credit for what they've done during this 6-game winning streak, but Blake Coleman has fit to a T, I think, so far playing for Daryl Sutter out there in Calgary.
Isn't that interesting? So a vote for Blake Coleman. Here's another one. Who is the best Canadian NHL team? Have you guys kicked that around, you and MJ?
Boy, oh boy, you know what? I mean, right now, if you're going with what's hot, like literally and figuratively, it's the Calgary Flames. They are the best team right now, I think, that Canada's had to offer. Winnipeg, losing to San Jose with the Sharks being as undermanned as they were on Saturday night is nothing to write home about. They're back on home ice, as we know, tonight. I would have to say, if you're going by a power rankings, Rod, week by week by week, I'd probably put the Calgary Flames right there at the top of the list. I'm not sure anybody could have said that before the season began, but that's a credit to what they've done, mainly on the road. Now they get back again to the Saddledome. We'll see what they can do. Well,
of course, Scott, and I don't know how much time you've been spending on the Flames. I've been listening a lot. You guys have been talking a lot about the Blackhawks. But I'm giving all the credit to Daryl Sutter because really nothing else has changed there other than the insertion of Blake Coleman, as you say, signing him. But Daryl went in there because I never thought it was a talent issue with the Calgary Flames. It was some sort of locker room issue or culture, and they seem to have turned it around. For their sake, I hope it stays. Daryl's got to be the reason.
He's a big reason. There's no question about it. And, Daryl Sutter is that type of guy. Everybody thinks of him as the old school type coach and that sort of thing. And I think there's a certain truth to that. But I also think that he's been adaptable to new ways. And I think that he does listen to the players. He does gain the feedback of the players. I think one of the big questions coming into this season, Rod, aside from, can Gaudreau and Monahan get the job done? And can they be that duo that they all expect them to be on a consistent basis? Well, it was, could Markstrom bounce back? Well, now he looks like the goaltender we saw that was the unofficial MVP of the Vancouver Canucks for a couple of seasons running. I think another big question, too, was how would they make up for the loss of Mark Giordano? How would they replace the minutes that he munched? How would they replace that leadership component? I think they've done very well with that. And whether it's, a Tanev or whether it's a Hanifin or whether it's the emerging Rasmus Anderson on the back end, they've almost had this defense by committee approach that I think has served the Flames well so far. And as we know in Daryl Sutter's world, it's the race to 3. If you can get to 3 goals, chances are Daryl Sutter from the goaltender out has always had very good hockey clubs. So I think that served Calgary well so far. Again, the test now is to get back home in front of those great fans at the Saddledome and continue to build on what you got done when you were on the road.
Absolutely, and the Calgary Flames home tonight to the Nashville Predators. Loving the Flames analysis. I got to ask you this, and it's a tough one, I know. Your take on Gary Bettman's news conference yesterday. And I say it's tough because Matthew Barnaby is a close friend of mine, and Barney always said, hey, on NHL radio, I work for the NHL. I got to be careful. Barney. So I'm sure it was tough for you. But how did you feel Bettman handled that? Frankly, I thought he said all he could say. I thought he did a good job. But where were you on that?
I think I heard what I expected to hear. It was very much told, I think, from a lawyer's standpoint. And I think that anybody who's criticizing what he had to say yesterday, Rod, is probably doing it from a human interest standpoint. And what do I mean by that? Well, they probably wanted to see more compassion, more remorse from the commissioner himself. Now, I'm not smart enough, Rod. You're probably not smart enough either. We don't have law degrees as far as we know to know what legal ramifications were involved and what they could say and what they couldn't say yesterday. I think, like you say, I think that he spoke from what he knew as far as what the league knew at that present point in time. There was a business-like approach to it. And I just wonder, like I said, whether or not there had to be that sort of business approach, because we know that this is going through the courts eventually, and we know there's going to be a settlement eventually as well. I think deep down, I think we all just feel for Kyle Beach and for the victims in this circumstance right now. And, we're trying to keep that first and foremost now in mind as we wait to hear what Kevin Cheveldayoff is going to have to say with Mark Chipman right alongside. And we know that the Players Association right now is going through a vote of confidence or lack thereof for Donald Fehr too. So all through it, I think we've got a lot of compassion and sensitivity towards what Kyle Beach has endured here over the last 10 or 11 years or so. Now we have to wonder ourselves collectively, and this starts with the league, right? It starts with the Players Association. Where do we go from here? I think the commissioner mentioned the hotline yesterday that's going to go from the NHL to the AHL to the ECHL, all the way down to grassroots hockey and minor hockey around North America, that they're going to provide that lifeline for anybody who wants to reach out and talk about issues that might be going on unbeknownst to a lot of people. So I think that's a step in the right direction. And I think it'll be incumbent on the NHL to learn from this, because it's a shame for everybody concerned that we've had to go through this. First and foremost, our thoughts with Kyle Beach and the victims. But now you have to ask the question, what is it, Rod, that we can learn from this? So God forbid this never happens again.
Wonderful answer. And I could talk about that all day, but I just want to move forward to the games. My last question is this. 9 tonight. I guess the one I'm looking forward to the most, will be watching the most, is my team, the Vegas Golden Knights, at Canada's team, at the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I know the Golden Knights would be excited to go in there. There's always a buzz in Toronto, as you know, Scott. That's everybody who likes to go in there and play. What game are you watching the most? I got to think it's that one, or is there another?
Well, that's a big one. I think the Flames, as you said, taking on the Predators tonight, putting that 6-game winning streak on the line is a big one. Look, I think for the Leafs, with all due respect to Canada's team, the Vegas Golden Knights, this is one the Leafs have got to say, you know what, we got the ball rolling here now. Tavares is playing lights out. Now we got to build on this a little bit further. Vegas comes in, and maybe the Golden Knights, since the day that they were born, Rod, as you know, have never been more ripe for the taking, because of the fact that you've got William Karlsson out now 4 to 6 weeks. We know the big guns that they're missing up front as well. They've been hard hit by injury, almost unlike any other NHL team. And I think that if you're Toronto and you're starting to build something, this is one that you've got to put into the win column. Vegas, though, as we know, there's always been that certain amount of pushback. They are going to be competitive, if nothing else. So I think that's one I'm looking at. Surprisingly enough, Buffalo at San Jose, I think, is one I'm looking forward to as well. That'll be the last game to start tonight, Rod. The Sharks, again, just monumental what they got done against the Jets with 8 players out. Bob Boughner not behind the bench, all victims of COVID-19 protocol. And they had to watch from the sidelines as they remarkably beat the Jets in overtime on Saturday. Buffalo, too, going through California. Blew the lead against Anaheim, still had enough to win. Blew the lead against Los Angeles, lost that game by a goal. What can they do to wrap up their tour of California tonight against the San Jose Sharks team, like I said, Rod, that's probably, once again, coming into this one, very much undermanned.
Every game's got a great storyline. I appreciate it. And always great to chat with a fellow member of Cowboys Nation. Scott, listening all the time. Keep it up, buddy. Appreciate the time.
All right. Anytime, Rod. Thank you.
Scott Laughlin, morning man from Sirius XM NHL Radio. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching the RP Show on YouTube. And don't forget, we're live daily on YouTube from noon to 2 Eastern. If you like what you see, hit subscribe. And if you like the program, check around for other segments of The Rod Peterson Show here on YouTube.